Maybe please rise up for the national anthem. And we need the family with the sweetest voice to help us. Out of the honorable members. Yes, honorable colleague. Yes, honorable colleague. Yes. Thank you. Lead us in the national anthem.
In the presence of teachers, how can you give it to someone who is going to teach? After the count of 2.
Honorable Baji is going to sing for us.
2. For the Gambia, we strive and walk and pray that all may live in unity, freedom and peace each day. Let justice guide our actions towards the common good, and join our diverse people to movements brotherhood. We pledge our firm allegiance, our promise will renew. Keep us, great God of nations, to the Gambia ever true. Clap for us.
Honorable has taken us back to school, and he even said clap for yourself.
Clap for yourself.
So, thank you so much, everyone. I now begin to call the members of the high table. We have Mr. Ansumana Kamara, who is the National Coordinator of Activista Gambia. Please put a round of applause for Ansumana. If you know Ansumana, you know him with Activista. Since we were children, Ansumana was with Activista. Thank you, Mr. Kamara. Then we have Marabi S. Haidara, Director of Committees, representing the Clerk of the National Assembly. Please put a hand of applause for him. Thank you so much for coming. We have Mr. Elijah Kamara from Action Aid. Mr. Kamara, sponsorship committee of Action Aid. And Action Aid has been a primary support and partner for Activista since inception. In fact, Activista is hosted in the Action Aid premises. Thank you, Mr. Kamara and Action Aid, for all you do. And the next we have Mrs. Konko Kande, who is the project, who works with Activista and is going to give us a project overview. Mother of the youngest participants in this room.
Focus.
Thank you. Please put a hand of applause for her. Then we have Honorable Jai, who represents the National Assembly members to give a statement on the implementation that has been done. Thank you so much, Honorable. Thank you for joining us. And we have Board Chair, Dr. Sekou K. Gassama, the Board Chair of Activista Gambia. Doctor has been relentlessly serving Activista for years now. Thank you so much, Doctor, for all that you do for the young people of this country. And then we have Mr. Chernogay, who will also join the high table. Cherno is the programs officer of the Activista Gambia. Thank you, Mr. Gay. A very gender biased high table this morning. I don't feel empowered.
You should ask the coordinator. We should ask the coordinator.
Konko is the coordinator.
No, I'm the representative.
Okay. So we'll have Konko join. All right. Thank you so much, Konko. Thank you, Cherna. Thank you so much. Please, let's put a hand of applause for these people. Each of them have done amazingly well for this project to be where it is today. For the first phase to conclude, they have put in relentless efforts, including everyone else in this house, in this room, to make sure that this project becomes successful. Before we move, Mr. National Coordinator, we need an official welcome, a warm official welcome from you this morning. I don't know if the mic before you is working, otherwise I can get this to you. It's not loud enough, is it? Okay.
Assalamu alaikum to each and every one of you present here, Honorable National Assembly members, comrades from the civil society, our partners from the media, our activistas here present, up with justice. Thank you so much. My name is Ansumana Kamara, National Coordinator for Activista Gambia. I want to sincerely recognize the presence of all of you to this very important event. But also, I want to commend the Activista National Board for their guidance and also oversight on us that work at the National Secretariat for Activista Gambia, but also our members from the region, because if you understand the structure of Activista, you will understand that it is membership based and Activista is present in all the local government areas in this country. We are really happy that all our regional chapters are present here in this hall. But also having people coming from the different constituencies is definitely something that stood out for me. I want to sincerely thank and also welcome our Honorable National Assembly members for ensuring that this project is actually realized but also successfully implemented. When we thought about this project, me and the team at the office, led by Chernogay and his lieutenants, we thought it was definitely going to be difficult to conduct 53 constituency dialogues in this country. Our target initially was to have all the 53 National Assembly members go back to their people and have these engagements with them. However, we were unable to, but we met with at least 45 National Assembly members. Some we did 2 rounds with them, which was really, really good, and we definitely thank the Assembly for that. This is the real People's Assembly. Someone was like, how did you manage to bring or call 30 National Assembly members and literally have all of them in one hall and in the weekend when they are supposed to probably go back to their people? And I was like, they are our people. These are people that we've worked with, and we've taken National Assembly members to the farthest place in this country. We were in URR, and most of the National Assembly members in URR, we were with them in their constituencies. And even after when we had this dialogue, some of them kept on calling and they wanted to know if we will have another round with them. But thankfully, we are also happy to announce that through the work of my very indefatigable people from Activista National Network, this project is extended by 2 years. That means we are coming back again. I want to give commendations to Chernogay, Aisha Sedikan, Dauda Bojang, Konko Kande, and also the Activista management, but also to the board, the National Board of Activista, for trusting us and ensuring that we are able to bring Activista back to life. We have our comrades in the struggle, our people from Gala, that is the Gambians Against Looted Asset, that are here with us. But we also have the National Youth Parliamentarians, who we've also engaged in most of the dialogues that we had in the regions. We are happy that they are represented by their clerk here. Our brother Diba is also here. We welcome all of you to this very important gathering, and we are very much convinced that we will ask questions. At some point in this program, Chernoge will also talk about the findings from the various dialogues that we have, recommendations from the people. But what stood out again most for me is that we have people from the constituencies that are here with us to confirm some of these findings. But we might leave some things out, and they might also want to adjust on that at some point. But we will also plead with the National Assembly members to say, we would want pledges from you so that you are able to also commit yourselves to some of the recommendations, because this is not from us. These recommendations are from your people. So on that note, I thank all of you for coming, and you are welcome to this program. Thank you.
Please clap for Ansumana louder than this. It's not easy to gather these honorable men and women in one room over the weekend, Saturday morning. I thought everyone was going to be late because, you know, we all know how Saturday is. It's a flex day for everyone after a hectic week. So thank you so much, honorable members, for answering to the call of Activista. And this is not the first time. Activista has set the precedence of always working with National Assembly members and always being the change makers. There was a time, okay, I don't want to go into details. I will miss a few things. That's why I don't memorize what I want to say. But that's okay. Thank you so much, Ansumana, for the leadership. Thank you to the Activista Gambia team and also the management board. We now call on the director of committees, Mr. or maybe now Honorable. Everybody working in the National Assembly is an honorable. Honorable Marabi S. Haidara, who is going to give remarks on behalf of the clerk of the National Assembly. Thank you. Okay. I don't know why those mics are not loud enough. You can use this.
Just give them that mic. It will make our life easier also.
Okay. Thank you very much, Satan. Good morning, everyone. Honorable members of the National Assembly, Activista Gambia, and civil society present here, the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to this important breakfast meeting between honorable members of the National Assembly and Activista Gambia. I wish to sincerely thank Activista Gambia for organizing this engagement and for inviting National Assembly to participate in a dialogue that speaks directly to citizen participation, democratic accountability, good governance, and transparency. This engagement comes at an important moment in our democratic journey. Citizens are increasingly asking to be heard, consulted, and included in decisions that affect their daily lives. This is not a threat to democracy. It is the foundation of democracy itself. As Abraham Lincoln famously stated, democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. This powerful statement reminds us that public authority belongs to the people and is only entrusted to leaders and institutions for responsible service. The National Assembly, as the elected representative institution of the people, has a constitutional responsibility to make laws, provide oversight, approve public expenditure, and represent the concerns of citizens. However, effective representation cannot be achieved from Banjul alone. It requires continuous engagement with communities, active listening, and a genuine effort to bring citizens' concern into parliamentary processes. I am therefore pleased that this meeting forms part of a 21-month project supported by National Endowment for Democracy, aimed at strengthening citizens' participation in governance through constructive dialogues with elected representatives across constituencies nationwide. This initiative is commendable because democracy does not begin and end with elections. It must also be sustained through consultation, accountability, transparency, and trust between citizens and their representatives. Today's meetings provide an opportunity to share key findings and recommendations from constituency dialogues, reflect on the outcomes of the project, and explore how citizens' recommendations can be better integrated into parliamentary work. The concerns gathered from communities should not remain as reports on shelves. They should help inform parliamentary questions, motions, committee inquiries, legislative proposals, oversight visits, budget scrutiny, and policy debates. Good governance is not only about institutions and procedures, it is about improving the lives of ordinary people through fair, open, and accountable decision-making. As Kofi Annan once said, good governance is perhaps the single most important factor in eradicating poverty and promoting development. This reminds us that governance must always be linked to service, development, justice, and welfare of the people. Honorable members, your presence here demonstrates commitment to participatory governance. It also shows that Parliament remains open to working with civil society, development partners, young people, women, and ordinary citizens in strengthening democratic practices. The relationship between Parliament and citizens must be built on trust, openness, constructive engagement, and shared responsibility. Let me also recognize the important role of civil society organizations such as Activista Gambia. Civil society has a vital role in promoting civic education, citizen mobilization, youth participation, and public accountability. A strong civil society is not an opponent of Parliament. Let me emphasize. It is a partner in strengthening democracy and ensuring that governance remains people-centered. As former United States President Barack Obama once said, the strongest democracies flourish from frequent and lively debates. This is why engagements like this, democracy becomes stronger when citizens, elected representatives, and civil society actors sit together, listen to one another, exchange views respectfully, and work towards practical solutions. Let us remember that democracy is strongest when citizens are informed, institutions are transparent, leaders are accountable, and public decisions are guided by the common good. On that note, I wish you all a productive and fruitful engagement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Maravi Haidara. That was a wonderful speech. I want to emphasize on some of the things that you've said, which is the National Assembly members are really open to working with civil society. And most of the civil society members in this hall here can attest to that. If not all of them, but majority of them have worked in one way or the other with these National Assembly members. And I want us to clap for them and honor them for their openness and their willingness to work with civil society and not see us as a competition. The idea of the constituency dialogue is really, really an amazing idea. And wonderful National Assembly members have done very well in their constituencies. Chairman will later do a presentation of the report. And I want to give a shout out to my special in-law, Honorable Musa Baji. Musa Mama de Monyani. You know, yes. So he's my special in-law, yes. Thank you so much. We now move to Mr. Alaji Kamara, who is going to give a partnership statement on behalf of Action Aid the Gambia.
Well, Mike. Assalamu alaikum and good morning, everyone. Honorable members of the National Assembly, distinguished partners, colleagues, and fellow stakeholders. It is a great honor for Action Aid to be part of this important engagement that brings together citizens, civil society, lawmakers. Platforms like the constituency dialogues led by Activista Gambia are vital in strengthening participatory governance and ensuring that democracy works for the people. Accountability remains at the heart of sustainable development and effective governance. It is not only about holding leaders to account, but also about creating inclusive systems where citizens are informed, engaged, and empowered to actively participate in decision-making processes. The constituency dialogues have demonstrated that when communities are given space to engage directly with their representatives, trust is strengthened and governance becomes more responsive. At Action Aid International de Gambia, accountability is a core principle guiding our work. We promote social accountability by supporting citizens, especially women, youth, and marginalized communities, to understand their rights and demand transparency in public service delivery. Through community-led initiatives, civic education, and advocacy, we ensure that duty bearers remain responsive to the needs and priorities of the people. Our efforts on building the capacity of communities to organize, speak up, and influence policies that affect their lives. We also work closely with partners to create platforms for dialogue, ensuring that governance processes are inclusive and participatory. This aligns strongly with the objectives of the constituency dialogues, which seeks to bridge the gap between citizens and elected representatives. Since its establishment by Action Aid in 2008 to promote youth and women empowerment and fight social injustice, Activista Gambia has been instrumental in advancing these goals. As a youth-led movement, Activista has played a key role in mobilizing young people and communities to engage meaningfully in governance processes. Their work in facilitating dialogue between citizens and National Assembly members is a powerful example of how collective actions can drive accountability and change. Through this partnership, we have seen how youth leadership can catalyze transformation, amplifying citizen voices, promoting transparency, and ensuring that community priorities are brought to the forefront of national discussions. Initiatives like this not only strengthen democracy, but also empower the next generation of leaders to take ownership of their future. As we reflect on the achievements of the first phase of this project, it is crucial that we move beyond dialogue to action. Recommendations gathered must translate into tangible outcomes that improve the lives of citizens. Accountability requires follow-through, ensuring that commitments made are commitments kept. Let us use this meeting as an opportunity to deepen collaboration, strengthen mutual trust, and reaffirm our shared commitment to responsive and accountable governance. Together, government, be it civil society, development partners, and citizens, we can build a Gambia where accountability is not just an aspiration, but live reality for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kamara, for the amazing work that Action Aid is doing across this country in the different regions, but also with civil society organizations like Activista, and the list goes on. So next we'll invite Madam Kande, who is going to give an overview of the project that she is leading on the constituency dialogues. And Concord is not just the mother of the youngest participant in this room, but she's a dynamic young woman who is doing exceptionally well. In fact, being in the midst of men on this high table tells you how strong this lady is. Thank you so much, Concord, for all you do. And now we delve into an overview of the most talked about constituency dialogues.
Thank you so much, Satan. Distinguished members of parliament, esteemed colleagues from civil society, valued donor partners, constituency representatives, and friends, good morning. It is with great pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this breakfast meeting today. Today, we gather not only to reflect on the work we have done, but to also reaffirm our shared commitment towards building a governance system that is responsive, inclusive, and accountable to the people it serves. The constituency dialogues were born out of a simple but powerful idea that democracy must be lived in the everyday spaces of our communities. Too often, governance is seen as the distant decision made in Banjul or at national level that shape the lives of the people. Our project sought to change that narrative. We envision dialogues as bridges between citizens and their elected representatives, between communities and institutions, and between aspirations and actions. At the heart of this vision was the citizen-centric accountability, a model where accountability is not imposed from above, but demanded, shaped, and sustained by the people themselves. These dialogues were designed with clear objectives to bridge the gap between local communities and their elected representatives, to encourage a culture of participatory governance, and to ensure that citizens are consulted, listened to, and included in decision-making. They sought to amplify the voices of youth, women, and marginalized groups, ensuring their perspectives shape the governance agenda. And they work to strengthen trust between communities and their representatives, making accountability a shared responsibility. These objectives are not only abstract ideas, they were practical commitments tested in real communities with real people and real conversations. Of course, the journey was not without its challenges. We encountered resource limitations that made it difficult to reach every corner of this country, especially constituencies in rural Gambia. The diversity of stakeholders, youth, women, traditional leaders, and political actors sometimes created tensions that required careful facilitation. Multi-region coordination stretched our teams and slowed decision-making, while persistent trust deficits reminded us of the skepticism communities have towards political processes. And beyond the dialogue themselves, structural gaps in healthcare, water, agriculture, especially affecting women, underscored the link between basic needs and civic confidence. Yet, these challenges became opportunities for learning. We discovered that inclusive facilitation, segmenting dialogues by constituency and demography, improved participation and reduced conflict. We learned that creative, outcome-focused reporting strengthened accountability and donor confidence. We saw that targeted engagement of youth and women built ownership and trust in electoral processes. Streamlined documentation, enhanced transparency and credibility, while multi-partner collaboration amplified reach and legitimacy across regions. These lessons remind us that participatory governance is not just about dialogue, but about methodology, clarity, and trust. These dialogues have shown us that when citizens are given the space to speak, they do so with clarity, courage, and conviction. They remind us that governance is not about abstract policies, but about the everyday realities of water, healthcare, agriculture, education, and livelihoods of people. They remind us that democracy is strongest when it is rooted in the voices of the people, and they remind us that accountability is not a burden, but a shared value that strengthens trust, builds legitimacy, and sustains peace. Colleagues, these constituency dialogues are more than a project. They are a movement towards a new culture of governance, one that listens, consults, and includes. As we continue this journey, let us commit ourselves to deepening citizen-centric accountability, to bridge the gap between the communities and their representatives, and to build a participatory democracy that truly reflects the will of the people. Today's breakfast meeting is not just a reflection. This is a reaffirmation of our collective vision. Together, let us ensure that governance in the Gambia is not a distant but close, not exclusive but inclusive, not imposed but shared. Thank you all, and do have a great engagement ahead. Power to the people, up with justice. Aluta continua.
Thank you so much, Konko. Please, let's give her another round of applause. My take home from what you said is that these constituency dialogues are not just a project. They are, They are a movement towards a new democratic culture that we are trying to build in the Gambia. Thank you so much, Konko. And the next speaker is Honorable Abdullah Njai, who is going to give a statement on behalf of the National Assembly members. Thank you.
Distinguished representatives of Activista Gambia, officials of the National Endowment for Democracy, fellow honorable members of parliament, representatives of the civil society space and organizations, youth leaders, women representatives, community stakeholders, members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. It is indeed an honor and a privilege for me to deliver this keynote statement today on behalf of my honorable colleagues in the National Assembly at this very important engagement centered on centered on citizen participation, democratic accountability, and also constituency dialogues. At the offset, let me sincerely commend Activista Gambia specifically and its partners for the work they continue to do in strengthening democratic participation and creating the platforms needed for direct engagement between the citizens and elected representatives. The initiatives such as these are extremely important for a growing democracy like ours, because democracy cannot be sustained by elections alone. Democracy must continue through dialogue, participation, accountability, and constant engagement between the leaders and the people that they serve. Over the past months, these constituency dialogues have brought together citizens, community leaders, youth groups, women groups, civil society leaders, civil society actors, and members of the parliament from different regions across the country. What makes these engagements significant is that they also move governance discussions beyond the offices, beyond the conference halls, and direct conversations with ordinary citizens. And one important reality that public office teaches very quickly is that citizens do not separate governance from their daily struggles. That is evident. To many ordinary Gambians, leadership is not measured by speeches, neither by titles. Leadership is measured by whether roads are accessible, whether medicines are available at hospitals, whether schools function properly, whether electricity and water reaches their communities, whether markets are supportive to women, and whether the young people can find opportunities and hope for the future. Across countrywide dialogues, many recurring concerns emerge very clearly around these issues. Citizens raised concerns about youth unemployment, limited skill opportunities, and growing frustrations among young people regarding economic inclusion. Women groups highlighted challenges relating to access to finance, agricultural support, market opportunities, healthcare, and stronger representation from the leadership spaces. Communities in several regions spoke about poor road infrastructure, transportation difficulties, electricity challenges, inadequate healthcare access, water shortages, environmental concerns, and gaps in local development priorities. In some areas, citizens also raised issues regarding education, crowdedness of classrooms, among other things. At the governance level, however, many participants also expressed concerns regarding transparency and communication gaps and limited public understanding of how government institutions and parliamentary processes actually function. Many citizens simply want more engagement, more communication, and also more accessibility from their elected representatives. And honestly, these concerns are quite valid. However, one very important outcome of these dialogues is that they also created an opportunity for members of parliament to also equally clarify misconceptions surrounding our constitutional roles, and also our responsibilities. Many citizens understandably view MPs primarily as direct implementers of development projects or providers of social support. While we cannot ignore practical realities and pressures faced by our communities, constitutionally, the primary responsibilities of members of parliament remain legislation, oversight, and representation. Our role is to make laws, is to scrutinize public expenditure, oversee government institutions, and ensure that the concerns of the citizens are reflected within the national policy making and the governance processes. But the reality on the ground is far more complex, because MPs remain among the most visible and accessible public officials. Citizens naturally turn to us whenever challenges arise, whether it is concerns with regards to healthcare referrals, school issues, youth opportunities, local disputes, electricity concerns, or community development matters. The MP often becomes the first point of contact. That expectation is real, and we as representatives must appreciate the responsibility that comes together with this. Dialogues also give National Assembly members an opportunity to explain and clarify national conversations surrounding constituency development initiatives and role of MPs in advocating for community priorities. In many communities, there has been misunderstandings regarding what constituency-related support mechanisms are intended to achieve, how public resources are managed institutionally, and where the line exists between representation, advocacy, and direct implementation responsibilities. These engagements help create better public understanding while also allowing citizens to openly raise concerns regarding transparency, accountability, and fairness in governance processes. That exchange is healthy for democracy because accountability cannot exist without communication and also without public understanding. Another important lesson emerging from these dialogues is that citizens are not merely asking for handouts or promises. They are asking to be heard. They are asking to be respected. They are also equally asking to feel included in decisions affecting their daily lives and their communities. That is why platforms are such as these matter deeply. From my own experience as a parliamentarian, some of the most valuable lessons in leadership are not learned in formal chambers or official meetings, right? They are learned by listening directly to ordinary citizens, sitting with communities, hearing difficult truths, even when they are uncomfortable, understanding frustrations, and also appreciating how national decisions affect their lives. Sometimes these conversations are uncomfortable. Citizens increasingly demand more accountability, more visibility, and more responsiveness from public institutions and also elected officials. But this should not be viewed negatively. In fact, it reflects the growth of democratic awareness and also civic consciousness in our country. A democracy becomes stronger when citizens ask questions, participate actively, and engage constructively with institutions. At the same time, we as leaders must also accept that public service comes with responsibility and also scrutiny. Accountability is not an attack on leadership. Accountability is part of leadership itself. I also wish to commend Activista Gambia for ensuring strong youth participation throughout these engagements. The future of our democracy largely depends on significantly whether the young people feel included within the governance processes. Young Gambians must see themselves not only as voters during elections, but as active participants in policy decisions, advocacy, leadership, and national development. Equally important is the inclusion of women in governance spaces as well, as women continue to play enormous roles within families, within communities, agriculture, markets, national development, yet barriers to political leadership participation does still exist. We must continue encouraging women's inclusion and representation across all sectors of governance and also in decision making. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, one of the strongest foundations of democracy is trust between institutions and also citizens. And trust grows when there is openness, communication, and also engagement. If citizens feel ignored, disconnected, or excluded from governance processes, confidence tends to erode. But when leaders listen, engage honestly, and remain accessible, democratic stability and national cohesion become stronger. This is why today's engagement should not be viewed merely as a ceremonial gathering. It should serve as a working platform for strengthening discussions. They should influence committee work. They should influence parliamentary oversight. They should influence legislative priorities, advocacy efforts, policy conversations within the National Assembly. Our democracy is still evolving, as it's still fragile. And initiatives such as these contribute significantly to building more inclusive, accountable, and participatory governance culture in the Gambia. Let us therefore continue building a parliament that is closer to the people, a parliament that is more responsive to citizens' concerns, a parliament that is transparent in its engagement and also committed to democratic accountability. On behalf of my colleagues in the National Assembly, I once again thank Activista Gambia, the National Endowment Fund for Democracy, and all stakeholders for sustaining this important initiative across the country. I wish you all a productive and meaningful deliberations. Thank you.
Please, a louder round of applause for Honorable Njai. Thank you so much, Honorable Njai. You have said a lot, but my key take home from what you've said is accountability is not an attack on leadership. Accountability is leadership itself. Thank you. Please, let's clap for him. And finally, our last speaker, but also an honorable speaker. Yes. We have a lot of honorables in this house. It's not just the National Assembly members. Even our board chair is an honorable member. Thank you so much, Honorable Dr. Gassama. Thank you for joining us here this morning. And we want to have an official opening / closing of this project statement from you, Doctor. Thank you. Please clap for him.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, for giving me the floor. I wish to recognize the presence of the Honorable National Assembly members here present, starting with the one on the high table here, Honorable Abdullah Njai, Banjul Central. Honestly, with your statement, I think I shouldn't say anything more. I think I should just close and go. Unfortunately, I've been scheduled to say something. Thank you very much for that very insightful statement that practically sums up the whole essence of this project. I also want to recognize the presence of Director from the National Assembly, Marabi, and also Mr. Kamara, representing Action Aid, my able coordinator, and project officer. She has excused herself. Distinguished civil society partners, colleagues, Activista regional committees here present. I think they've been already introduced. They are here. The whole of Activista network are represented here, from the grassroots to the national level, which is the national board. We have our 3 board members here. The vice chair. Where is the vice chair? Yes, Madam Ami Ndongo is there, and our treasurer will come shortly. He has an engagement. He should be here anytime soon. That's Babukar Nyang. We also recognize the presence of constituency representatives, which is, in fact, they are the center, of this whole project. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, colleagues and friends, on behalf of the Activista Network, I have the singular honor and pleasure to welcome you to what my coordinator said, People's Assembly. I think rightfully so, looking at the composition. Technically, it looks like the whole country is represented here, apart from 8 constituencies. So I think it's befitting to call it People's Assembly. We are indeed grateful for your presence, having taken time off during the weekend to come and join in this program. We know that mornings are often filled with pressing commitments, so your choice to be here speaks volumes about your dedication to strengthening democracy and peace in our country. The meeting is designed to be informal, yet purposeful, a chance to share perspectives openly and to listen deeply and to chart a way forward. The purpose of the meeting. Our purpose today is to talk about issues that are significant, to create a platform where elected representatives, civil society actors, community voices can engage constructively on issues that matter most to our people. We believe dialogue is not a luxury, but a necessity for building trust between institutions and citizens, between the elected representative and the people they represent. Essentially, this breakfast meeting is part of a broader effort to institutionalize peace dialogues as civic engagement tools and to promote social cohesion. It's about ensuring that governance is not distant, removed from the people, but participatory, and that decision makings are not made in isolation of the people that the NAMs represent, but informed by lived realities across the Gambia. Acknowledge challenges. As we gather, we must acknowledge the challenges that confront us. Youth participation in governance remains limited, despite the fact that young people make up the majority of the population. I think we will all remember the traditional 60%, So also women continue to face barriers in accessing resources, representation, recognition, and through contributions to community resilience are undeniable. We also face the task of deepening public trust in governance, because we see, kind of diminishing in terms of trust in our governance process. This is a challenge. It's a national challenge that we all have to work towards to actually turn the tide, in the right direction. Citizens often disconnected from the decision-making processes, and this disconnect can erode confidence in democratic institutions. These challenges are real, but they are not insurmountable. There are opportunities for us to act together to innovate and demonstrate that democracy can deliver. Commitment of Activista, the Gambia. At Activista, the Gambia, our commitment is very clear. We exist to amplify marginalized voices, to convene spaces where diverse perspectives can be heard, and to ensure that civic engagement translates into tangible impact. We see ourselves not only as advocates, but also as facilitators, bridging the gap, between communities, institutions, and creating opportunities for dialogue that lead to action. Our work is grounded in inclusivity. Now, whether through constituency dialogues, intergenerational peace forums, youth-led initiatives, we strive to ensure that a voice is left unheard, no voice is left unheard. We believe that democracy is strongest when it reflects the diversity of its people. Call to collaboration. Honorable members, colleagues, friends, today is not about speeches alone, it's about collaboration. It's about networking. We invite your noble selves to share your perspectives openly, and to engage and to contribute practical recommendations that can inform policy and strengthen civic trust. We know that the challenges we face cannot be solved by one institution or one organization alone. They require collective effort. They require us to move beyond rhetoric into action. And they require us to recognize that every stakeholder, from parliamentarians to youth, from women, farmers to civil society organizations, matter. Broader vision. Our vision is of a Gambia where dialogue is not only a one-off activity, but continuous process, where civic education is not symbolic, but substantive, where peace is not fragile, but resilient, We believe that by institutionalizing dialogue, we can build a culture of participation that strengthens democracy and fosters peace. This vision is ambitious, but is achievable. It requires commitment, consistency, and collaboration. And it requires us to see ourselves not as separate actors, but as partners in a shared journey. As we begin today's with optimism and determination, let us remember that the future of the Gambia depends on our collective effort. And let us be confident that through dialogue, collaboration, and inclusivity, we can build a democracy that reflects the aspirations of our people and the values of peace and justice as enshrined in our Constitution. Honorable NAMs, ladies and gentlemen, we also know that sometimes Activista is branded by some elements as an opposition. May I make it crystal clear that Activista is not a political party. It is a civil society organization that is not based on politics, party politics, not based on religion, sectional, ethnicity, etc. It is an institution that is youth-led in nature, supported by Action Aid International, the Gambia. Activista is a movement of young people, men, women, social activists, social justice activists, musicians, students. Activista focuses on youth advocacy through mobilization and engagement of youth at local, national, and international levels. Activista is working to empower and enable young people to actively engage in decision-making, political processes that affect their lives. Activista is a legally registered youth network with regional structures across the country and in diaspora, affiliated to organizations in the Gambia. Now, what I just read is called out of our Constitution. And in fact, Activista, I would say, is one of the most democratic, is one of the most democratic institutions in this country. Activista is among the most democratic institutions in this country, from A to Z. I think those who know the way Activista operates, they know what I'm talking about. Because Activista values, good governance, democratic principles of representation, and this is done periodically. Every 3 years, the board is elected. They appoint a management, and the board is elected by the regional, committees that they are here. Some of them are here, and this is not failed. And 2 times, the board goes, another one comes in. So, I think I challenge anybody to bring a more democratic institution in Gambia than Activista. Okay? So we value rule of law. We value due process and accountability, transparency. These are the mantra of Activista. And quite often some people forget. But in fact, many NAMs are Activista. And some of them are in this room. Some of them, they were, they went through Activista networks. And they are there. I'm sure they know in their life journey what Activista actually contributed. So Activista cannot be labeled otherwise by such elements. I think it's good that I address the elephant in the room, because sometimes, people are targeting, people falsely, on no basis, because, they feel threatened or whatever for some reasons, and, and it's happening on a daily basis. If you don't know, I'm telling you now, okay? So this is Activista for you. And Activista, I think, Activista has been around since 2008. Why people think that Activista just was born this morning? Activista has been here since 2008. Activista has been engaged in advocacy. And the things that they are saying, you just go back and Google and see. We are not saying anything new. So this is the reality. And personally, I was touched when I had a chat with one of the NAMs who attended the constituency dialogues. And he told me that, no, this program, because I was introduced to him as Activista board chair. in a social function. And he told me that you people are doing great job. This activities has helped me a lot because it has promoted understanding between him and his constituents. Just like Honorable Ablai mentioned, that it creates that atmosphere of interaction. I am sure the 45 NAMs that took part in this process, they may have different feelings, but I think the good points cannot be ignored. It will be very clear. So this is what Activista seeks to do: promote good governance, transparency, and accountability. Activista has been doing this for close to 2 decades now, and Activista will continue to do that. So basically, this is what I wanted to clear. Together, we can move closer to that vision. Together, we can ensure that governance is participatory, that governance is peaceful, sustainable, resilient, and that democracy is meaningful. It's meaningful to all. If we go into political theory, I don't want to digress too much. David Easton would say, authoritative allocation of values. He is actually defining what is politics. Politics. I have to say this. Authoritative allocation of values. And these values, what is talking about? It's talking about development. How development is actually, distributed. Politics is that art that actually, engages to ensure that there is a fair distribution of resources. Okay? Some other will say, actually politics is about who gets what, when, where. I think that's Professor Laswell's definition. Okay? So politics actually is progressive. Politics is not dirty. It's the people who make it dirty. It's dirty people who makes politics dirty. You can quote me. I studied political science, so I know what I'm talking about. It's not politics that's dirty. When I hear Gambians say, oh, politics is dirty, it's like this, whatever, you have to lie, in politics, whatever, to achieve. It's very sad, really. But that is not what I studied. I studied progressive ethical politics. Just last Sunday, I had, that's where I will wrap up, because this is not a lecture, you understand? So last Sunday, a group of young people, they call themselves ethical, youth movement or whatever. They asked me to come and give a lecture about good governance. And when I, gave my talk and all that, I concluded, all of them who were there, they were Muslims. So I said, okay, I'm going to conclude my lecture with a hadith. And I think, for me, this hadith is the solution to Gambia's problem. So I told them, this hadith, since primary school, we were being taught. I'm sure a lot of you here, depending on where you come, your ustaz might have been, talking about that. And I said, Ayatul Munafiq Salasa. Who can continue? Somebody continued. Who can continue from here? Ayatul Munafiq Salasa. Iza Hadasa? Iza Wa'ada? Iza Utumina? Khana. Okay. So to translate that, for me, I see this as the solution, now. Can you imagine if we don't lie to each other? We tell the truth, Somebody who doesn't lie, do you expect that person to steal? No, you will not steal. You will keep your word. But how can people think that you can say something now, today, tomorrow you go and do something and it's well and good, and yet still we go and vote for them? We go and vote for them. This is the sad thing, So it's high time, and I think, I'm glad the National Assembly members are here. We all have a responsibility, to act ethically, to put ethics in our way of doing. We are a religious society, and ethics is key. Well, what happened to our ethics now? If you look at all what is happening around us. So I would like to end my discussion, and this is very relevant here. Why I'm saying this? Because we are talking about what? Fostering participation, democracy, through citizen-centric accountability. Citizen-centric accountability requires what? Honesty, integrity, because you are public office. You have that you carry. So it's important that people who are occupying public offices should have the highest standard of ethics. Otherwise, they should resign. I rest my case. Thank you. On that note, am I supposed to open? I have the singular honor and privilege to declare this open. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. So we have all seen the passion in Doctor. We have seen the passion in Doctor. Doctor is a relentless leader. He still fights with people if he has to fight with you. Yes. Yes.
There's no doubt about it.
No doubt, huh? Thank you so much, Doctor. At this point, I would want to take leave of you guys on the high table, honorable members. Thank you so much. Please, let's clap for them. Thank you. Thank you. And we will use 10 minutes to continue to network, meet and greet, get to know each other, whilst Chernobyl sets up for his presentation. Thank you.